What up, everybody? It's your boy Smooth Older, aka Real Ghost White.
Hey, this is Nikita, aka Jakari Star.
Yo, what's good? This is your boy Bob.
This is Kiyah, aka Black Honey.
Hey folks, this is Corey, the host for Metal for Brains.
Your girl, she's supposed to be.
This is Greg, the infamous New Age Ike Turner.
Kicking it with the homie Corey, aka The Real Shitty. And now you're listening to On the Air Podcast.
And you're listening to the On the Air Podcast.
The On the Air Podcast.
The On the Air Podcast.
Starring you.
Starring you.
Starring you.
It's your host Corey at The Real Shitty on Twitter. Follow the show's page on Twitter at OTAPshow. Right here with episode, I think we on episode 25. I guess I should be the one that would know if we on episode. Let me check. I think episode 25. There we go. It's been a long week, been a long couple of weeks, and we're back at it again with my guest this week. You all follow her on Twitter. She always talking about some tits or anything else of that nature. It's Shadow, One Shadow Love. What's going on, lady?
Hello. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Not much happening. You just had a birthday.
I did. My birthday was yesterday. I turned 37 years old. A lot of people shocked when I say how old I am. But yep, I turned 37 yesterday.
Well, happy birthday. Happy birthday. What did you do?
Thank you. You know what? I just moved to Texas in June in Dallas. So, my circle is really small. But, of course, my birthday being a Monday, wasn't nobody trying to do nothing. So, I had one of my homegirls, we just went out to eat, chopped it up because I don't see her that often. And, took a bunch of pictures and, that's about it. Family, Twitter, Facebook, everything was blowing up. So I spent most of my day saying thank you to everybody.
So what?
That's all I did.
What would you have? Like it sounds like that. It certainly sounds like you enjoyed yourself. But what would you have? What did you want to do? How would you have rather spent it?
I would have. You know what? I would have rather. And my family was supposed to come here for Thanksgiving, but when prices going down or whatever, you automatically assume, okay, flights are going to get a little bit cheaper. At least that's what they have you thinking. But that's not what happened. It's actually flights were just outrageous, and nobody, I got family. Most of my immediate family is in Minnesota, so nobody wanted to drive 12 hours. And so that's what I would have done. Would have I have an 8-year-old daughter that's in college, and she was really upset because she really wanted to come. And I'm like, I don't want you to get on the road, to come here if you can't fly. The bus is just ridiculous. I said, so if you can't, get on the flight and you can't afford to get on the flight, then, let's wait for Christmas or whatever. So, ultimately that's what I would have liked to have done.
No, wait.
Just, spend time with family.
Did you say an 8-year-old daughter or 18-year-old daughter that's in college?
18-year-old daughter.
Oh, okay.
That is in college. She's in her freshman year of college.
Okay, all right. We'll talk about more of her in a second because I guess the audio kind of cut out. I was like, 8-year-old? What kind of prodigies you cranking out over there? Okay.
Oh, genius.
Right. That's who I need to be interviewing. Put her on the phone.
Right. Nah, she's 18.
That's cool. What part of Texas you live in? I
have 3 kids.
3? Okay. What part of Texas you live in?
I am in the Dallas area. So, I moved here in June.
So, and flights to Dallas weren't cheap, not even for Southwest?
No. be honest with you.
Really?
For some reason, from Minnesota to Dallas, you know how if you go look for, you go look and say, okay, I'm gonna look on a Monday or Tuesday, but I get paid on Friday. And the flight might be cheap when you look on Monday, but by the time Friday comes, boom, it done went up $100.
Yeah.
So it's like if you don't have the money right then and there, it's like to get it right when you look. That's what my daughter was facing. She would look and be like, "Oh, Mom, I need a ticket for such and such," but she'll say, "Well, I'm gonna get my flight." And then Friday comes, she's like, "Oh, it's too expensive," and things like that. I told her I would go half with her, but then she kept changing her mind. I'm like, "Look, if you don't want to, set a date and be and commit to it, then we'll wait. We'll wait." So more than likely for her Christmas gift, I'm just gonna buy her a flight so she can come visit.
I don't know if she listens to podcasts or not, but if she's really interested in traveling, I would have her listen to episode 9 of my show, because me and Dee, we talk about, we travel a lot. I travel a lot, and so we were giving great travel tips and when to buy flights and the best time to buy flights, particularly for Southwest. And I'll tell you, like, you hear a lot of people say, definitely Tuesday afternoon. That's really true. I've seen prices get super low for like Tuesday afternoon, and particularly for Dallas, I found that since they've opened Love Field back up, that because that's only where Southwest goes to now is Love Field. And I found that flights to Love Field have been really, really great. So that the fact that she couldn't find any cheap flights to Dallas, that's maybe it's the time of year, I don't know, but that's surprising.
Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving week, it's just like, it was just too last minute. So I'm gonna take this information and then I'll just utilize it. And, when I buy her ticket, so I'll just, I'll take that information. I'll go listen to it myself tomorrow to that episode. I'm not sure if I even got to. I work myself from your most current all the way down, unless it was a certain person I wanted to, listen to because I follow them or I know who they are. So I kind of just jumped around. If I wasn't familiar with their Twitter or your description, didn't, seem like I would be interested in them, I just skipped over.
No, that's
so
cool.
I'm gonna go to that one.
That's cool.
It's like hard catching up and you don't start, from the beginning.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, right? So if you started from current and going backwards, you gonna catch mad regression in everything, like, because I feel
I don't know. I'm backwards like that.
That's cool. Just whenever you make your way back to episode 1, you gonna be like, damn, what the fuck was he doing? Like, I learned a little bit more about recording and I'm not a novice to recording, but to podcasting in general. So I apply different tips and things that people give me along the way. So if you're listening to it from the start to the finish, you can be like, oh, okay, this is dope. But then, like, if you going backwards, you're gonna start hearing like bad audio issues and my first episode, I think I just recorded it and then just put it up. Like, it was just raw. Like, I didn't edit shit. So
I don't have anything to do tomorrow, so I'm gonna just go from episode 1 on up. That's what I'm gonna do.
That'll work.
Because I'm not doing it. I'm off work this week, so I get to just sit around and bullshit. So that's what I'm doing.
That's cool. So you recently moved to Texas. Are you originally from Minnesota? Where did you move from?
I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, home team.
Look, yeah. So most people are like, well, what part? All over, because my mom moved around. All the way to there. So I got to Minnesota when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to Minnesota at 13. Went to high school. I went to 1 year of think middle school because you know how the school systems are different, whatever. So I went middle school, then I went to high school. And then I got pregnant with my daughter in my senior year. And, and then I moved at 21. I met my other two kids' dad and moved to Virginia. So I lived in Virginia for 6 years and then moved back to Minnesota and stayed there until my daughter graduated. And then now I'm here. So
how hard
I've been on the move.
How hard was that on you, or was it hard on you being pregnant your senior year or having your child your senior year in high school?
You know what? It was very difficult. And the reason why is because my mother and I have very strained relationship. My mom had me at 17, so we had a really strained relationship because she got with a guy, and her life was about that guy. And, so I didn't feel that. I was like, you pretty much put me off for this nigga that ain't your husband, and I just didn't with that. So I used to run away and do crazy stuff and stuff like that. But I was the only child at the house. I had a brother, but my brother lived in Florida with his father. So it was just me until my mom had another child. And then once she had another child, it was all about her and that child because she was with that child's father, not mine. So I felt, pushed away more so and not really connecting with her. So I ran away. It just so happened my godmother moved from Georgia to Minnesota because Minnesota at that time was popping with jobs and careers, and people were kind of migrating there from the South a little bit to get, better job opportunities, whatever. Uh-huh. And she just pretty much took me in. But my mom fought that. She was like, no, she's not your kid. You can't keep opening your door and let her ass, stay out in the street. Well, then I ended up meeting my childhood best friend and got really close, to her mother. And she kind of just said, you know what, you and your mom are having some issues. I'll take you in. And her and my mother worked something out. So where I stayed there, so I was able to go to the same high school, wasn't moving around. I was stable for once in my life. And but what happened was that woman was sick, and she couldn't really give me nothing but really shelter, food, and clothing. So then, what do girls do when they're not really feeling loved by their parents? They go to boys. You know what I'm saying? So I was getting attention, from boys. And I was like, oh, okay, well, somebody do like me. And with that happening, sex happened, and then I ended up getting pregnant. But what was hard about it was it was very good. They wanted to ship me to another program where pregnant girls go. But my counselor, she fought for me. And she said, you know what, Shawanda is really good student. She did great. She really only needs 8 credits to graduate. We don't need to put her into no alternative school. The principal said, hey, I trust that. If you believe in her, we believe in that. And I needed to hear that. So it took somebody in the school system to believe in me. And my baby father, my daughter's dad, would not let me not go to school. He didn't play that shit. And he was a junior in college. And, got a lot of slack because he was so much, older, then that matters, a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old, like that's a big difference, and it don't matter now, but by him being in, actually he was 20, by him being a junior in college and me a senior in high school, he made me get up, do morning sickness, everything. I mean, when I say I found out I was pregnant in September of my senior year, I had her in May. So I went my entire senior year pregnant. And, I was sick the first 4 months, and he made me go. He sat there and made me do my homework. He would drive me on some days when he didn't have class. It was very difficult. But he was my support system, And then I had her, and I graduated 2 weeks after having her. I didn't go to prom. I was like, I look like a fat whale. I didn't want to go to prom, but it didn't feel pretty enough for prom or whatever. So I didn't get those senior memories, but I got my daughter, so that kind of, made up for all that shit. So it was very hard. And I got judged, and, people threw slack and was like, you're not going to graduate, or you're not going to do anything, once you have that baby. Your life is that baby. You're not going to go to college. Man, I still went to college right after having her. I went that summer, and I still enrolled in school, right, and went right to college. I did not take a break.
So
it's,
in school, like having to deal with that judgment and seeing people, the snide remarks, that's one thing from amongst like your peers. But did you ever catch anything like that from teachers or other instructors?
I could say the only one out of from my teachers, like I said, I only needed 8 credits, so I didn't have a full class load. I only had like 3 classes. So the only teachers I could say was like my science health teacher. He had some, little snide remarks to say, obviously, you didn't pay attention in sex ed or health ed, snide remarks and stuff like that. But I really ignored him because to me, he was just on some bullshit, and I kind of thought he was a little creepy any damn way. So, other than that, my English and my, math and science teachers, those were the only classes that I had my senior year. They were very supportive. They asked me if I wanted extra credit, if I needed more time, if I was tired or I was on my feet, too much. They were very helpful. And my counselor was my counselor all 4 years. So that helped us with some stability. Like, I needed that. I needed stability. Right. And I had it in the school system because I spent so much time there, So that was very important. That kept me motivated because I wasn't really getting that at home.
It sounds like it sounds like your child's father was very, very supportive. Sounds like he's a good dude. Is that the case?
Great dude. I always tell people he was not after having her, she kind of hit the fan. But when I say he was a great coach, he was very supportive. Everything, he let me make my decision, even with having her, even though he wasn't with that, abortion stuff or whatever, but he was like, hey, I can't make you do such and such. I can only tell you I don't do it because I'm going to be here for you. And, I had to make this decision ultimately for myself. But I'm going to tell you this. We broke up when my daughter turned 2. But I tell you, he was a shitty-ass boyfriend to me as far as, what I wanted at that time. But he was a great dad, and he still is today. And that's never changed. So, despite that, our breakup and us not being together very long after she was born, I don't regret having a kid with him at all.
Is there a certain internal conflict that you have or had at the time with him being such a great father to your kid, but being a not so great of a man to you?
Yeah, because I did what typical baby mamas do, is kind of throw the child in the face. And I did that for a little while until I had a talk with the one I told you that took me in. Uh-huh. I had a talk with her, and she says one thing that, and I tell this to all women, one thing we are with our mothers is a lot of things we mirror them. And a lot of times we have strained relationship with our mothers because it's a battle between mother and daughter a lot of the time. And most of the time we will repeat history of what our parents do, particularly our mothers when it comes to daughters. You end up repeating a pattern even when you don't want to. And she peeped that I was starting to repeat a pattern that my mother was doing. And that I needed to hear that, And so I said then, I will not become a bitter baby mom. I want that label. And so it took me for me to say, I need a third person to make sure he's his daughter so I can get over our relationship. So it took me a year to not see him, not interact with him, but to still make sure he's seen his daughter. So we used my best friend as that third party. So she would make sure, that he saw our daughter or whatever. I would drop my daughter off to her. He would pick her up. And it took me about a year to get over him so that I wouldn't be that bitter baby mom.
Right.
And we went to court. You know what I'm saying? We went to court when my daughter was 1.5 years old. And that judge said, Shonda, how much money do you want from him? I looked up at the judge. I said, I don't want his money. I said, I want his time. I want half his time. His time is more valuable to me than his money. I said, I can make my own money. I was already going to college and, working toward that. I was working part-time and going to college full-time. And I said, I just need his time. I need him to make sure he gets his daughter half the time. And that means if he spends half the time, he's going to spend half the money. That's just automatic. So the judge said, wow, how old are you? I said, I'm 19. And she said, I've never heard a 19-year-old woman come in here and tell me this. So she granted both of us joint physical and legal. And she said, you two can never come back to the court to solve anything. She said it's completely 50-50. She was like, y'all work it out how y'all want to do the schedule. She said, I suggest, because your daughter's young, you do 1 on, 1 week off. And we took that suggestion and we did it. And it worked. The problem came once I got in another relationship. That's when a little bit of more issues started happening.
All right, so hang
when
tight.
I got in another relationship.
So hang tight, because we're gonna touch on that in a second. Let me ask you this question. Having been in that role of, I guess the phrase you used was a bitter baby mom. All right, and I'm just using your wording, and having been someone that used their kid as a pawn, for whatever reason, kind of give the audience the mindset or the thought behind that. Like, I know you're not that person now. Like, you've changed, but at that time when you did that, what sort of justification for you did you have, and did you ever think about how that might affect your kid?
I absolutely did not think of the kid. It was all about me. It was all about me. He hurt me. He, he took me through some things. He was dishonest to me. And here I am holding him down and being honest and faithful to him. I thought, I deserve better than this. You know what I'm saying? And so I was, it was completely about me and my selfishness. And it was about, I'm going to make you pay for what you did because I can't whoop ass as much as I want to. I don't really want to see you hurt. I can't get somebody else to whoop your ass. So I'm going to have to hit you, where it's going to hurt. And that was his child. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't, it was about revenge and being, out to get him, to where I wanted him to feel the hurt that I did. That's what it was. And it was, and that's just being real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I wanted him to feel it. And I didn't have any other weapons. I didn't have any other weapons but his daughter. And so I would do stuff like, no, you can't see her this weekend. We're going to a birthday party. I would just make shit up, or something like that. Or you can't come to see her, or you can't get her unless you come and spend the night over here. Like, I would do silly shit like that. So I use it as a control because we being women, you know what I'm saying, we use, a lot of women that I know, we use our child because that's the only weapon we have. We don't have anything else. So we use our child as a weapon. So I did not think of my daughter at all. It was completely not thinking about her.
Would he,
quite honest.
Would he ever like bite the bait, so to speak? Like if you wanted him to spend the night over there in order for him to come see his child, would he do it, or did he ever try to circumvent? Like
he did almost 90% of the time. He did exactly what I wanted him to do because he wanted to see daughter.
But you knew that he was there for your daughter and not necessarily you. But were you still satisfied? Was it just because you just were able to get him to do?
He wasn't out messing with old girl. Because he was there with me. I knew where he was at.
I got you. What advice would you give for someone that's kind of sort of doing that sort of thing now?
I actually tweeted, and because I did the little titties thing, you might not be able to see it. I actually tweeted what I call, I named it the 10 Commandments, and it's the 10 Commandments of co-parenting. It's when two people who made a child or children together who are not together, how you can co-parent together successfully, and mostly lean towards the women. The 10 Commandments of what you don't do. And I did it kind of how Biggie did his. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Never do such and such. And one of the biggest things, my advice to most women in a bitter, baby mom situation, or you bitter because of y'all breakup, and you see yourself and you find yourself using your child or your children against him, my biggest advice is your child is going to remember that. Your kids are going to come back to you later on and ask you questions of why their father wasn't as active, and if you're the cause of that, you have to then deal with the path that you don't put them on by doing that. And I knew I would have to face that if I didn't change my ways. And like I said, after I had that talk with someone, consult other people who's been in a situation. A lot of women, scared of that stigma that they're not going to be the perfect mother. Well, I'm here to tell you, there is no perfect mother. There's no formula of what a perfect parent is or a perfect mother is. And most of us get sidetracked because we think because we do a certain thing a certain way, we don't want everybody to look at us as a bad parent. Nobody does. But by weeding that other parent out, you got to one day face that and explain that to your kids. And that's the hardest thing, and that's the thing my mother couldn't do. My mom was the bitter baby mom. She jumped state from my dad so he couldn't see me. And now I have a strained relationship with him because of what my mother's choices were. And she cannot answer those questions or avoid them. And I didn't want to have to deal with that with my kids.
Right.
So I said I have to change. I have to change. I have to get over him. Number one is, if somebody's a bitter baby mom, and anybody can try to debate me with this, but if you're a baby mom, you're not over that man. You're not over the relationship.
Ooh.
And you cannot stop being a bitter baby mom until you are over that man.
Girl, you better come on with it. You better come on with it.
When you over him, let me tell you, you want your kids to go with him because you want to do you. You know what I'm saying? You're like, shit, come get come get them. Yes. You ain't trying to, keep them hostage from the dad when you're over them. Once you're over them, it's like, whew, it's like a big relief because then y'all come together as a team. And I'm telling you, me and Mike, I have two because I have 2 kids by one, and I have one, my oldest by another. We are a team. I have not argued with these men about our children in over 10 years. 10 years. We don't argue. We have conversations, discussions about our children. We don't argue about them because we co-parent, respectfully. Because that's what it is. It's about respecting the other parent. I don't know no more than that dad does, and he don't know no more than me. Because guess what? We're doing this together. So, some things we have little fusses and little debates about certain things with our kids. That's no, but I'm saying straight out arguing. Fuck you, these my kids. No, I haven't did that in 10 years.
That's good.
So I preach this all the time, but women don't take well to me, especially if they're single mothers with the kids in their home and the dad's not there. They automatically put the courts in their business. I don't want the courts in my business. I never have. I don't want nobody telling me, when he can see his kids and when I can see my kids. I don't got time for that. I don't have time for that. So I was like, try to avoid that as much as possible. Come to common ground. But what I will say about men who are paying child support out there, don't think you can control the money. That's where a lot of issues is. One of my baby fathers actually paid me child support. And, he thought he can come in and kind of tell me what to do with it. But I said, your child's fed, right? Your child's clothed. Your child has shelter. Okay, if I use that check to pay my car note, it's still, it's still part of that child being taken care of, because guess what? I got to go run this kid to XYZ, so my car is important. Exactly. So a lot of, it's stuff like that. People got to know their lane, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to this parenting thing. And that's the thing. Women try to control the man himself. Men try to control the money.
I got you. That's deep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. So so let's move forward just a little bit to, all right. So with your child's kids, your first baby's father, right? So he started to act up when you got in a new relationship. Tell me about that.
No. It was the opposite. The new guy started to act up.
Okay.
The new guy.
What happened?
Yeah. He didn't like relationship between my baby father and I. Because, see, he's used to seeing women not get along with their baby father once they're not together. But once he came in the picture, he seen me, laughing and giggling with my other baby dad and, going outside having, lengthy conversations with him as I was as he come and get our daughter. We would sit outside and talk for a little while. And he would just feel some kind of way about that. And I'm like, look, if you're going to be with me, you got to, you got a good relationship with him. Because I said, you're not going to trust me around him without you. I need you and him to get a relationship. Because my baby father was cool with being okay with the new date. First of all, he wanted to meet him because you're going to be around my daughter.
Right.
So I need to meet you. Now, I went 2 years without messing with anybody. So my daughter, I didn't have men around my daughter. If I did go on a date or if I did mess around, I made sure it was the week I didn't have my daughter when she was with her dad. Right. And so I was dating this guy and seeing him, but he hadn't seen my daughter. And so I wanted to include my baby father in there. And I'm like, look, I eventually want, but he pushed away for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like 6-7 months. And I said, well, until you meet her dad out of a respect thing, I can't introduce you to my daughter. And for us to move forward, I need you to be comfortable with my kid because he didn't have any. And he thought that for a little while, and it finally took me. Something ended up happening where my baby father couldn't come and get our daughter, and I had to leave, and I had to leave her with him, and he picked him up from my new guy. I already called him and told him what's up, so he already was aware, and they ended up being real cool. You know what I'm saying? But it took a little while. You know, we went through some ups and downs, and it was, you know, my nerve. I was going to break up with dude. Like, you know, if you can't get with the fact I get along with my baby father, then I can't mess with you. But people were saying, no, stick in there, maybe, you know, and all that.
How obnoxious did he get?
Oh, it was obnoxious to where he'll, you know what I'm saying, he'll be, you know, like, once I get in there, he had a straight attitude, or, you know what I'm saying, I want to argue because I was outside too long. You know what I'm saying? Or if he'll call me something and I say, oh, I'm at my baby dad's house. Then you always over there at my fucking nigga house. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? You know? So it was just like a bunch of just bickering and arguing because he had a jealous, you know, he was a really jealous type dude.
All right.
And, you know, he just thought we was just way too close.
All right.
He said, y'all too close. He didn't like it.
So keep it real on the OTAP show. Like, were y'all still fucking?
Huh? No, we weren't.
Oh,
we
okay.
were not.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right.
I told you I had to get over him.
All right. No further questions on that. Okay. I just wanted to know outside of some lengthy ass talks. He
tried to a couple times.
And you weren't going.
Nah, I wasn't trying to fuck with him no more.
You not one time.
No, once I got in that new relationship, I don't fuck around when I get in relationships. Now, in between that time where I told you I had messed with another dude for years before I got with the new guy, yeah.
Okay.
We was fucking every now and then.
Okay, all right. But when you was with the new dude, not one, it was not one, no, almost, coulda, maybe, man, we dodged the bullet type situation.
Nope. Once I decided to get in a relationship with him, plus he was better in bed than my ex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was. The new guy was better. Yeah, he was way better.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's why I had 2 kids with him. Yep.
I ain't mad at you. Have you been married?
Yeah. Yep. That's another part of my story.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah. I moved to Virginia with the new guy. He moved to Minnesota from Virginia. But he didn't like Minnesota because of the weather and all that. I got pregnant with my son, and he was like, look, you're pregnant, you know what I'm saying, we need to move, you know, or whatever. He's like, I can't stay here. And I was then faced with a challenge. Remember when I spoke earlier about the judge said that I could not come back to court to do anything?
Yeah.
I was faced with the dilemma of taking my daughter to Virginia with me so I can be with the new guy and raise my son with him. Well, baby daddy said, oh no, bitch, you ain't taking my daughter.
Fuck no.
And we could not go to court. and by law, I could not do anything. If I would have took her, he could have brought up kidnapping charges on me, blah, 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 blah. So then I cried for about 3 months about what I'm going to do because baby dad, too, had got a job offer that was awesome. And we had found a place. I had Section 8 at the time, so y'all can kiss my ass. Section 8 helped the sister out. I had Section 8 at the time. And I had transferred my Section 8 over. Everything was pretty much ready for me to move to Virginia, and my baby dad said no, and he was not letting up. I had to leave my daughter with him because it was just, I had already gave up my place, everything. Everything was set in, pretty much in stone. But he was like, nah, you ain't taking my baby. Now, he had got with who's his current wife now. He had got with another young lady, and, he's married to her now, but he wasn't then. We had a conversation. We sat down. I said, look, let her stay here. You got a woman, so she'll have a female in her life. And his family was very helpful. And I said, and by that, two more kids by somebody else. And I said, I'll let her stay here. If she has siblings or whatever, I'll get her in the summertime on vacation. And that's what I did. I moved to Virginia with my son and his father. And I just, went into my daughter. I would travel and go get my daughter for the summer or whatever so that she's still me. And I did that for 6 years until I moved back to Minnesota. And I ended up getting pregnant with my second daughter, but my third child. And me and his relationship was then pretty much strained. And the reason why is because he was chasing this dream of being, a rapper.
Oh,
and
okay. All right.
me being me, I'm like, nigga, you got kids, we gotta pay bills, and you up here in the studio paying money and wasn't shit coming in. So I was getting frustrated.
So hold on. Was he nice?
Yes.
Oh, he was nice.
Yes.
He was nice on the mic. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Yes.
All right.
And he's actually really good friends with Allen Iverson. So he has connections and, and stuff like that. And I was like, but to me, once again, the selfishness came out. And I was like, look, you can't put all your all in the music. And he would do stupid stuff like quit his job and, change jobs because it didn't fit his studio time. And I'm looking like, this is irresponsible. Everything fell on me. And I just, I was getting tired and I didn't have family there. I was so dependent on his side of the family. My family wasn't there. I didn't have anybody in Virginia. I made friends or whatever that helped me out, but I just felt empty again. And then I felt some kind of way that my daughter was in Minnesota, even though I was seeing her still or whatever. I got pregnant with my youngest, and I hated him by then. Like, we were really not getting along. We were fighting all the time, arguing all the time, or whatever, but I had pregnant with my daughter, so I had to stay one more year. When my daughter turned 6 weeks old, I got on the plane, and I'm going to tell you this, I had 9 outfits to my name. I had all my daughter's stuff. I left the Section 8. I left 2 vehicles. I left a fully furnished house. I left that. But I also left another thing.
What's that?
My son. I left my son with him because he then said, you're not taking my son. You take our daughter because she's only sweet. I can't take, but my son is my life. And he was like, you ain't taking my son. And I was like, then faced with another dilemma of having to leave another kid. And then I thought about it, and I had a conversation with my mom because by now, me and my mom are speaking, and we're on good terms. I spoke to my mom. My mom, too, had let her son stay with his father. So once again, remember we go back to that repeating your parents cycle?
Yeah.
I saw myself doing it like my mom did. So my mom said, I did it. And she was like, can I raise a man? And she said, you got to get out of the stigma that a woman has to take her kids when a breakup happens. She said, where is it written that it has to be like that? He's a good dad. Your son is his rib. And she said, why would you snatch that from him? She said, you make the choice. And I just thought, I prayed on it, whatever. I left my son there with him, took my 6-week-old, moved back to Minnesota, and I raised my daughter while my son stayed with his father in Virginia. And that's where I met my husband. My husband just got out of prison. He did a bid, but I knew him back when I was 16 years old.
You be
He just had
picking
got
them,
locked
don't you?
up.
You be picking them.
Huh?
I said you be picking them, don't you?
I was friends with his cousin. We were really good friends. So I already knew him, so we were just real good friends. It's just that a sexual relationship ended up, happening out of it. And he took my daughter, my youngest daughter, in like she was his own. And he only had one kid at the time. And, we did about 6, 7, 8 months. And he asked me to marry him. And like I said, I knew him prior to us getting together. So yeah, he had a criminal record, but it wasn't something violent or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So he went to jail when he was 10 years old. The judge just made an example of him. I pulled his bag around to make sure everything was okay. He was not a street dude. He just, had, just kind of went with the wrong crowd. But, so I got married, and he helped me raise my daughter until him and I divorced, like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So marriage was a whole different thing, especially when you don't have children with the person you're married with. Y'all both got kids by somebody else. So that was to me what I say. And no, I'm only 26 at this time. I don't went through 3 relationships, like from 18 to 26. So marriage that opened my eyes to even more things. And I tell people, you can make that a goal and everything, but I personally think you need to really be one with yourself before you add a partner in, because that's what a marriage is, a partnership. And if you feel like you're too independent as a woman, then marriage probably won't work for you. Because I wasn't ready for marriage. I really wasn't. I wasn't ready to be his partner. And I learned that as I started climbing up the income ladder, that I started to figure that out. Wait, this ain't just mine. I got to consult with somebody about my money or what I do. And I would speak to married people, and they was like, and I'll hear them say, I'll say, oh, I'm about to go on a trip, and they're like, oh, well, what does your husband think? I'm like, huh? You got to, consult with your husband. I'm like, oh, damn, you're right. And then consult with him is a bad argument. I'm like, wait, we really arguing about something that I really can do by myself? I don't need you to do it. I just want to do it, and I just need you to be okay with it. And he was like, no. I'm like, oh, hell no. Especially when you're the breadwinner. You know what I'm saying? I made more money than him. Mm-hmm. But I still had to treat it as if half of it was his. And that bothered me. I was like, what the fuck is this? You ain't doing the 40 hours a week to make the money that I'm making. You didn't go to college and get this degree. Why am I consulting this shit with you? So I tell people, this is a business. You are a partnership with marriage.
That's true.
You got to be on the same page with each other. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't pay attention to that prior to getting married. It was just all glamour and glimpse, and I just felt accomplished. So accomplished at 26, a degree black woman with a husband and her children.
Living the dream.
You know what I'm saying? I felt accomplished. What you say?
I said, living the dream. You felt like you made it.
Yeah. Yes, I really did. Until once again, attention. Well, I'm not gonna blame everything on him. But what I would say is, communication then became scarce. I always started working. I wanted to go to school. I ended up deciding I wanted to, go another path with school. So I ended up starting taking night classes and stuff like that. his needs weren't being met as much as he wanted. My needs weren't being met as I wanted. And then he just completely drifted off communication-wise. But guess what I started doing? I started making more money. So guess what I started doing, Corey? I started traveling. And guess what my husband didn't want to do? He didn't want to travel. But I wanted to travel. But this is something we never discussed before marriage. How do you feel about traveling? Something simple like that, I could have found out before I said I do, that this nigga don't like traveling. He don't want to get on planes. Well, what the hell you want to do? I'm saying, if we can drive there, we can drive. We can't drive to Hawaii. So I started realizing him and I didn't have anything in common. I started realizing from music to the company that we kept to going to school, education-wise, how we raised our kids, we had zero in common. Corey, by the time I got my 7th year of marriage, I didn't even know who that dude was anymore. Because we were just on complete different paths. You know, I'm traveling. Me and my girls, we gone. I'm leaving every 3-4 months. But instead of him telling me, no, I don't want you to do that, he completely stopped giving a fuck. And he got him the ultimate side chick.
Oh, yeah?
His supervisor. Oh, yeah. His supervisor at his job became his side chick. And I'm not talking about side chick messy. You want to know how long he was messing with her? Before I found out?
How long?
He was fucking her for 5 years. 5 years. I have a fucking clue. Because guess what? She played her fucking role. And she was an older woman. You know what I'm saying? She was about 10 years. You know, he's like a year older than me. So at this time, she had grandkids and shit. So she was like 40-something. You know what I'm saying? At the time. So she was like maybe about 10 years older than him, I'm a guess. I don't know her age. But he was letting me do my thing because he was had a whole nother relationship. He was doing everything with her. But what I found out, remember I told you, him and I met because I was good friends with his cousin. Well, one day his cousin decides to tell me that he was messing around. And she said, man, I can't take it no more. His cousin told. And she said, I can't take it no more. You my friend, you my girl. She said, but you need to open your eyes. I was like, what? And she was like, you don't see that he never comes home? You know what I'm saying? You don't see that he, what he's doing? And I'm like, well, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But he's always giving me an excuse that he's out with his family and, all that. So I'm just not that sneaky type of woman to be, be snooping and shit. I'm just really trusting he's telling me the truth. And then, he started, they're not paying attention. And, things weren't adding up or whatever. And after she gave me that little hint, because she never told me exactly, I started then picking up signs and clues. And one thing I found out, I was supposed to go to New York. This was going to be my last trip. I was supposed to go to New York. His uncle passed away. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm going to cancel the trip so I can go to the funeral with you. He was like, no. Go. We need you to get that money, too, because I was doing some little, hustling thing when I go to New York or whatever. And he was like, go make that money. We need that money. Don't worry about it. I'll go to the funeral, or whatever. And I wasn't, something should have told me, why the fuck he want me to go and not go to the funeral with him? But the whole time is he's taking his side bitch to family events and shit. I'm completely not going to nothing. He's not telling me nothing his family is doing. He's taking her. And finally, somebody sent me pictures of her, and I knew who she was. I was like, wait, that's his supervisor. What the fuck is she doing there?
Wow.
And that's how I found out that, my husband was messing around. And it wasn't a crazy divorce or anything. It took me about 6 months to come to the decision that I'm going to go ahead and let him go. before things got too messy. So, you know, I just did what I need to do. I took his ass off for all my paperwork and, you know, all that. And I told him, you got 30 days to get out my house.
All right. So that relationship ended. How has it changed your view of, or has your view of dating changed post-divorce? And how do you go about it?
It has changed so much, Corey. Number one, like I told you before, I know now that it is very important to communicate with the other person, and I know now that having things in common and having common interests are very important for a long-lasting, thriving relationship. And I didn't pay attention to that. You know, I really married the guy because he's funny, he looked good, he was a hustler, and his ability to make money was there. And it was an easy process. It wasn't a dating process because I already knew him. At least I thought. You know what I mean? And so being that I went through that, it's very hard for me to connect and date now. I really have zero patience. If anything seems like it's rocky or it don't make sense, or even if you seem like a play hoe or you got a lot of bitches, I probably just X you out. And you probably be a great man, but I just don't have the time. I just don't feel like taking the time to commit to getting to know somebody anymore. And that's the struggle for me, you know, because I didn't take the time before, and I think now it's even more difficult because I'm my radar, you know what I'm saying? I'm paying so much attention now because to me I was clueless then. So now I'm paying attention to like everything, you know. Yeah. And then I try not to jump too forward and ask, you know, and do 21 questions with men, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think I try to let things kind of work for itself. And a lot of times don't. It just end up fading. Because I think a lot of men now, the woman to put in a lot of work too. So now I'm confused.
The game has definitely changed.
You know, because it has changed. And by me being in my later 30s now, the game it has not only changed, but it's small as hell. Because most men that's my age, you know what I'm saying, already are married or in relationships or something like that, or they might not be in the location that I'm at. They might be 3 hours or 3 minutes away, and then I meet guys who don't want to take the time to date because I'm too far. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, forget that I like you and that I want to get to know you, but because of where you live at, yeah, I'm not gonna even take the time to get to know you. You got
to go and get what you want. You know what I mean? Like that's always been my approach to it. Distance is only as much as an obstacle as you allow it to be. You know what I mean? So that's definitely what they expected for you to. And there's a certain part of you meeting them halfway or whatever the case, but if you just completely just unwilling to do it, like you can't really. How bad do you really want it? You know what I mean? Or do they just want the convenience of you? A lot of times that's probably what it is. They just want the convenience of you. They don't really want to put in the work.
Yeah, I think that's the majority of what it is. If the majority of them just want, convenience, or they don't want to, or they don't really, rock with me like that. Or if they do, it's for a period of time. But see, that's the thing with me. Distance is not a big deal for me. I will do what I need to do. If I'm rocking with you and you in another state, then that's just something that I'm going to have to deal with. But I rock with you. I like you. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm willing to do that. But I'm not getting it on the other end. Most of the time, when I meet a guy, You know what I'm saying? Say, for instance, it's online. If I'm online here, they don't even want to drive. They don't even want to deal with you 45 minutes away. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, wait, I'm too far. Or you gotta be like, oh, what side of town you on? That really matter? I'm in the same state. I'm in the same, you know what I'm saying, quadrant as you are. You asking me what side of town I'm on, I tell them, they like, oh, you far as hell. I'm like, it's 36 minutes. What? So I'm running into that type of thing with this dating thing.
That's
or I'm getting, much younger guys. Much younger. That's a whole thing. They're really young.
You have a problem with younger dudes?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm running into is, do you want more kids? My youngest is 10. I don't want no more kids. But I might meet a dude that don't have, and then I'm feeling some kind of way because, I'm like, God damn, we can go around and have kids, though, or, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. So I'm like, they're really only good enough just to be fucking, I don't want no more kids, so I'm running into that, you know what I'm saying. Then if I find a younger dude that got kids, he got baby mama issues and shit, and don't got it under control. It's just all over the place, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with that at my age, her with her, bullshit, so those are the things that I run into. I run into all that, what I'm saying, trying to date. And my mom said I would go through this once she found out I wanted to get a divorce. And she said, oh, well, let the lonely, independent, single woman days for you begin. And I didn't know what she meant by that until now.
Right. I got you.
Because she said she thinks I intimidate a lot of guys too. She says she knows that about me.
Well, I mean, you strike me as a pretty confident woman, and I can see where that intimidates people, intimidates dudes. But here's the thing: if your confidence intimidates a dude, that's a dude that right there should let you know that's the red X you need to avoid.
Yeah, I don't want no nigga that's intimidated by me, so he can stay away. And I'm not gonna change. I'm gonna change who I am. You know what I'm saying? I will. I know how to play my role as a woman. I can. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna, always try to be leading something, because I don't always want to lead, and that's a misconception with me. For the people that knows me, they all think that I want to lead. No, I really, really want to sit back and be led sometimes. Like, I do, but just haven't yet to find that in a relationship. I've always been the stronger one, the one that's holding down, everything, and then ended up having to pick up all the pieces and, bring it back together later on. Even with my family, everybody comes to me for everything. Right. So I would like somebody where I can hold their hand and walk beside them or a little bit behind them. I wouldn't that. But a lot of people don't think I do. They'd be like, nah, you don't. You just saying that. No, I really do. I really do. I just haven't met him.
That's cool. Let's change gears just a little bit. So,
okay.
One of the cool things that I love about you is that, and I find myself, I guess like-minded attracts like-minded people, because I also don't partake, but I find that, so on the social network that we share, we're on Twitter a lot. There is a lot of drama that happens, but I don't find you a part of any of it. How do you, and you're in my estimation, you're pretty popular. I think you are anyway. And usually it's the populars that find themselves easily targets of Twitter drama and stuff like that. How do you maintain? How do you avoid that?
You know what I do? I simply ignore and do not engage. And this is what I have came to terms with as, having a following and a significant one. Your followers feed off you. It's like, it's like a fire, that, is dim or whatever, but you need that ignition to get it back up. Well, me, I will be that ignition. And I think I'm a target too, because people feel some kind of way based on my tweets and all that. And where people jump in and try to drag me, and slander or have something to say about I simply ignore them. If you ignore them, you take away their power. Because if I don't retweet them or at them, then none of my followers, nobody ain't sitting up there in my mentions, you know what I'm saying, or everything. And so I simply ignore them if I feel like it's going to get messy. If I retweet them, boom, it's just, everybody's eyes on me. If I say something out of pocket and out of line, boom, everybody's eyes. And people on Twitter, and the way Twitter is now, they thrive off of drama. They thrive off of it. And what I have found out, all these people that follow me, once given the opportunity to have a reason to bash me or slander me, they're gonna do it because they ain't my damn friends in real life. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's looking for something to talk about and to discuss. And I don't want to be nobody's topic of discussion on the line on Twitter unless I'm the one who initiating the topic. Right. So, and number one, I don't laugh when other people are being slandered, especially if I follow them, or I don't initiate drama either, and so you're not going to see me up in there initiating anything. I'm not going to take a picture of somebody, and then at somebody and say, oh, this looks like you, and boom, 20-some thousand people is on there, laughing. Hey, that other person on the other end of that phone or whatever, if they feel like they're being attacked. No, that's my purpose. I don't attack people. If I don't get along with you and I don't like your tweet, it's just that simple. I don't follow you. I don't tweet you. I don't at you. I don't engage with you at all. And I think that's what keeps me pretty much, level-headed and in my lane. Because I don't want to be nobody's, top 20 Twitter topic of 2000 and whatever. You know what I'm saying? People are just waiting for that day for me to be in drama, and I don't want that. I don't. Well, that's not my goal. I don't use my Twitter for that.
Well, I'll say this then. Thanks for the follow back.
And I have no idea why I followed you. That's not. I follow Corey. I don't know.
I know why, because I'm the shit. You didn't want to miss out.
You guys cool.
You didn't want to miss out on. You didn't want to miss out on these gems. You know what I mean? That's what it was. Like is it not obvious? I can't believe you just said. I don't know why I followed you. Of course you do.
I was like, well, before, because I'm like, why didn't I know about these podcasts before? I did, because I was like, I usually pay attention to my followers more, so I was upset that I hadn't even known about your podcast until late. So I was mad at myself. I was like, I like to know these things, even though it don't seem like I pay attention, I really do. Because, like your show says, everybody has stories. You know what I'm saying? So I like to hear other people's stories. Yeah. And I get a lot of beef. I get a lot of people saying, you tweet so sexual and you know what I'm saying, all you tweet of titties and sexual. No, I don't. Y'all just pay attention to that. You don't pay attention to the other gems that I throw out there that complete who I am. Nobody sees that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So people pay attention to Twitter what they want to pay attention to. When, you know, they want to pull me out and say, all she talks about is sex and, you know, and titties. No, that's what you pay attention to. You know, there's a difference.
Right.
And so, I you know, that's what I'm always getting flagged for. I'm always the flag. But I'm going to be who I am on Twitter, whether people like me or not. You know, simply on follow. You know, it's easy. Nobody is holding you high. And my followers don't make me. It just shows what people are interested in. That's all the followers mean. That's all it means. It means, it doesn't mean that I'm it or anything like that. It just means what I'm talking about on Twitter, that many people are interested in it at some point. All that means.
Plus ain't nothing wrong with tits.
Ain't shit wrong with titties. Everybody likes titties. Kids, women, old people, you know what I'm saying? Men, I'm here for them. I am here for them. I love boobs. You know, that's just, it's like a fetish to me.
Uh-huh.
And people ask me why I'm so into them. And I just say, you know what I'm saying, they have a lot of purposes. And people, you know, because we live in such an ass society, people don't really pay attention to boobs as much. But they have, you know, multi-purposes. One, they nourish, you know, children and things. But ultimately, because my breasts do, my ass don't. So that is always, you know what I'm saying? So I've always took to them more than, you know, my ass.
Say that
you know,
again. Say that again. You said your breasts do what and your ass don't what?
I said my breasts do something for me that my ass don't.
Ah, okay. And what's that?
That's giving me an orgasm. My ass can't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And when I discovered that, I fell in love with him. I didn't even know.
I read that somewhere.
That I could do that.
I read that somewhere. And it's not a huge number of women, but I don't think, and a lot of that is just, I guess, self-awareness or whatever. But I was reading that there's a small group of women that can get an orgasm from their tits.
Yep. And somebody brought that out of me, and I discovered that, you know, later on, I think probably I think I was 31. So it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
That I discovered that about myself. And I said, oh shit. So ever since then, I've been addicted. And so, and the guy that did it for me, he was a breast man. I've always been with, you know, pretty much men that like nice asses or whatever. But he was a breast man. He doesn't, you know, ass was fine or whatever, but he was really into it. So he took his time, you know what I'm saying? And he was into it. And I was like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? But he just like, relax. He walked me through it and told me to relax. It was like, if you relax, you'll get something out of it. And I'm like, no. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
He was like, fuck out of here. I had these tits forever and ain't a goddamn thing happened.
I had these titties. Ain't nothing happening. You know what I'm saying? They've always been like sensitive, but after each pregnancy, they got more sensitive. So after my third child, they really became sensitive.
Oh, you was prime.
Yeah. So I was shut up. So I was like, ain't nothing gonna happen here. And when that happened, I've been addicted to it. So it's like I don't even want to deal with you if you don't know how to set some breasts. It's like it ain't even popping. But now I'm to the point where I can teach. Look, I could teach somebody to do it now. I'm an expert now. Like back in the day, I would have no idea.
Well, I tell you what,
I wanted to tell people.
When this episode drop, you're gonna have mad folks trying to get the info. They're gonna come to you trying to get the answer.
I tweeted that too. I had some gems on the timeline in, the earlier part of the year, and I have, 10, titty sucking tips. So if women might not think they can orgasm from it, but mostly women can. It's just that she has to be relaxed. You gotta, the guy needs to know what he's doing, and she gotta be relaxed and in tune with her body in order for it to happen. But I have tips. I'm gonna tweet it again later on and favorite it. But I have tips to how you can get that out your girl.
Good looking out.
I try to get them gems out there. People just go over here.
People
in there right now, man.
People are so weird about gems. Like you have something that you want to share with people, and it's like folks for whatever reason, folks reject it because they want to figure the shit out. They say like that's stupid. I'm giving you the blueprint.
Exactly.
And you still like play. You still sitting here playing with Lincoln Logs, and I'm telling you how to build a goddamn building. Like
exactly. I don't understand that. I'm giving you the tools because I am a woman who's in tune with her body like that. Why wouldn't you at least listen? I ain't saying you gotta do it, but one thing about Twitter, I get more people who wanna argue with me on my experiences. Corey, I tell people this all the time. I only tweet what I experience. If I don't experience it, I then, ask a question. I then do questions so that I can get feedback from followers on something. I don't know everything. Mm-hmm. But if I know I experienced something, I tweet it, and then boom, people want to say, well, not necessarily. Well, I'm not saying you did.
Right.
I'm saying this is what I went through. And that's the main thing on Twitter that I dislike.
And it's like if I say, yeah, if you do this, and this, then you'll get such and such results. And someone will be like, not all the time. And I'm looking at them like, that you saying not all the time does not invalidate the shit that I just said. Like that didn't have any bearing on shit. Like you thought that one little line was gonna make my whole little shit seem like, well, damn, I guess that's not true. As a matter of fact, it is true. Right. And if your ass just listen, it might work for you too. Right. Like I know this shit work because I did it.
About Twitter.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, especially if you do it every day, you're doing it right here. You could be doing it right then and there, getting your results. Tweet about it, and they're gonna fight you against it, and you just did it.
I'm like, and I'm looking like, did I not just do this? Let me run back the tape. Let me rewind.
It's like a pet peeve of mine. But see, Twitter is my therapy. You know what I'm saying? And it got me through my divorce one. Now, if I was going through like a little depression type thing or whatever, and Twitter really just kind of helped me out. A lot of people be like, well, you tweet so much. And it's because I have the luxury of having a job that allows me to do it.
Right.
I have the luxury, like I'm not out in the streets, I'm not a partier, I'm kind of a homebody now, and it's all because I have to read and prepare and do stuff for work that requires me to be at home most of the time. And I don't travel and stuff, and I don't have my day-to-day responsibilities of my children at this point. So I have all this free time, and because I'm not dating, that too, or seeing somebody on a regular, Twitter is like my escape, of reality. Because I can't talk about the stuff that I talk about on Twitter, which is really me. It's really me. This is who I am. I really do like, boobs, but I can't go around looking at titties outside of Twitter. And that's why I do it.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out a way how I can do what I do and make money off of titties. I'm trying to figure that out. Because those two worlds, they're dope. I'm a heterosexual woman. I don't like women.
But you like tits.
I appreciate women's bodies. I like boobs. Yep, I like boots, and I wish you make some money off of it. I want to make money off of it. I really do. But because of what I do in my career, I can't do both, and it pisses me off to society that way.
All right.
And it does. I want to be a titty madam at night, and then work a regular career in the daytime, but I can't do that. So it pisses me off.
Well,
I even kept up with a nipple butter.
I tell you what, we gonna figure it out. We gonna figure it out.
It ain't a good idea. Have you been to Hooters?
Yeah.
You don't see no titties.
Yeah, like I don't even like. I mean, Hooters wings is nice, but just because of that, like I go to places like Twin Peaks now, or I'll go to Tilted Kilt. You know what I mean? There was another spot that I went to along those same lines. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, like Hooters and kind of, it's sad. But Hooters was the standard, but they done fell off. Like, man, this is bullshit.
Yeah, it fell off.
Like,
I went one here, and I swear none of them had more than a B cup. I was like, where's titties at?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't seen no Hooters. In Dallas, I went to Hooters here.
Man, so check this out. You got what? You have anything else for us? You got? Did we miss anything? Anything? I tell you what. Go ahead and plug something. Whatever you got going, where people can find you at. Anything.
What I got going on? Okay, well, right now, you know what I'm saying, I'm preparing to go get my master's degree, and I need encouragement. Because it's like, I got a daughter in college, and things are starting to get expensive, but I want to kind of be at a certain income level. I can't get there unless I get a master's degree. So I'm trying to pep myself up to do this. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to show mastery in a skill that I use my Twitter for, which is sociology. Right. And I don't know if you guys follow me and you pay attention, I do a lot of personality and psychology type of questions, or I do something. I use my Twitter kind of as my platform, So I'm trying to get my master's in sociology because I have some things that I think we need to change about how we deal with our teenagers. Okay. And I was tweeting about it. I was tweeting about it one day. I took a whole day and tweeted about how we as adults don't give teen jobs. And I'm talking about simple jobs as mow the lawns and things like that. And I'm trying to tap into that to find out why that is. And, I got some good responses, but I'm trying to get more feedback on that. So I use my social media for that. So, Twitter is pretty much the only social media I use on a regular basis. I'm on Facebook, but that's just kind of just for family and friends and, and my kids to keep up with them. Yeah. But, I pretty much use my Twitter for pretty much everything. I don't have a Snapchat. My daughter's on Snapchat. She begged me not to get on there. So I just stay on Twitter because that's kind of my lane, you know what I'm saying? So I don't bump heads with my kids or whatever because they on Snapchat, they on Instagram, they on Facebook. So I kind of keep it professional, more so on Facebook and stuff like that. Right. So that's pretty much what's going on with me, Corey, other than, what you see, see what you get. All right. Other than that. That's all.
Well, cool.
I definitely enjoy chatting with you. Always nice. I got to see how you progress in your show ability.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm getting a co person. Or what I wanted to ask you was, what made you decide on a podcast? I thought about doing one, but I don't know if I want to commit to it because I'm kind of lazy.
All right, so
some shit like
So like, all right. So I'll start with the first one. So it's like having a co-host. So I'm going to have some episodes here and there where I'll have someone come on. Maybe someone that I think it's fair. Like if I'll have someone on that I've interviewed previously, and maybe me and that person will kind of tag team and interview someone. Interview someone else together. So I mean, I definitely love to have you back for that. When I start doing that. But what made me start doing it was a long time. Well, it wasn't that long ago. I'll probably say like '05, '06, something like that. On this, I used to do these interviews sort of like they was on a message board, so it was sort of like through text, and I would, do it and have whoever the moderators were, they would pin it up and people would ask questions, which was really cool. So it kind of gave that person shine for the week. But what I found out then was, I found out then that everybody has a story and everybody thinks they don't, or they think that their story is the most boring on the planet. And you find out some of the most fascinating things about people. Like, I may have a list of questions or things that I want to know. I rarely get through all of them because people take you down these different twists and these different turns to a whole nother area that you didn't even know that you wanted to be interested in, right? So I've been thinking about it for a while, and people would ask me, they say, hey, you ever thought about doing interviews? And I was like, well, if I do it, I want to do it on a different platform. And then the idea of podcasting come up, and I was like, you know what? That might work because I can reach a broader scale of people, and I can have more people come in and come on and tell their stories. So that's one piece of it. The other piece was to help people, kind of promote their endeavors or whatever, and do that sort of thing, kind of help people get out and maybe, use it as a way to give back or something like that. But the main thing is people live the most fascinating lives, and it's the people that think that they don't that have the most fascinating and most interesting stories to tell. Everybody has something that that can help someone else, or that someone else can learn from. And I try to tap into that and try to get that out of them. So that's really the reason why I started doing it. And I've been having so much fun doing these. And I think other people have had as much fun listening to them too, which is really cool.
yeah, I'm telling you, I get mad at work when I have a student in my class because I can't listen to your show when they're in there.
Aww.
I be mad. I'm like, I can't listen to the dango podcast. And I go between like three because I can't listen to too many.
Yeah.
Because then I'm gonna slack on somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to pick who I do, and I like to tap into my followers, as much as possible.
Yeah.
As long as it ain't, if it's not completely out of you had that old girl on there who's supposed to start a podcast. She's supposed to Diddy.
Yeah, she actually did start her podcast. She did, and it's going really good.
Right?
It's called Feels Like Good Music. It's doing really good. It's doing good.
I want to listen to her, and I don't even follow her or anything like that. I knew of her. I seen her tweets every now and then, but I was like, I want to listen to that actual topic that I love music, especially old music, and that art feel good music,
Yeah.
like that. So I want to see how they're doing that and how they're putting the twist on it and everything. So if it wasn't for your show, I would have never found out about that. So
yeah,
so you are doing a great job.
Thank you. Definitely check it out. I enjoy it. Nona, she's really great. She's one of the greatest people. You know what I mean? Like you think of great people on Twitter. Like she's just one of the greatest people. Period. Another one that I definitely tell people about. I actually guested on their podcast last week, and I've interviewed all three of the hosts. But check out the Short Message Service podcast, the SMS podcast with Shayla Moe and Shoots. That's a really dope podcast too. It's three women, and they talk about any and everything. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I need to know that because this is my new radio. I don't have commercial breaks. I might have music here and there on different people's spins, but other than that, like this is my radio. You know what I'm saying? It really is. I'd rather listen to podcasts than look at the news or listen to regular program radio. Like I think I get more out of these podcasts because I hear relatable stories, and then I can use other people's stories as a teaching and an educational tool. To be amazed, the stuff that I use to really talk to my students based off of what I hear on podcasts.
Well, that's dope. That's dope. Let me ask you this question since you listen to a lot and you've listened to mine. Do you have any feedback or anything you like to see on the show or anything you would change? I recently changed my intro music.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Are you gonna change it often, or are you gonna keep it the same?
I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it every so often. Like I don't really have like a scale for it. Just really the honest reason why I changed this time because I got tired of trying to make up these new intros for people. Not that I didn't like it. It was just it's quicker to get it out. So I changed it to another idea I had. But every so often, just to try to keep it fresh. But yeah, you have any feedback or anything?
Yeah, the only thing I said I would like to see with your show is, like I said, I always like co-hosting thing, and I don't have to be all the time, but just a different person asking some questions or whatever. You tag team with somebody. I want to see that. Preferably, female.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just think you just got that a good vibe.
Okay.
I was gonna say something to you. I like your intros though. Like I like the fact that before the guest comes on, he kind of gives us an introduction of what to expect.
Yeah.
So I like that. So that. You really go with topics because you pretty much base it off of your guest.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So I think you do a really good job of picking your guests, to be honest. I thought I would have something in mind to kind of throw out there to you. I know you probably want to, get suggestions of who to interview.
Oh yeah, I'm always looking for suggestions. You can tell them to me now. You can have people go to the website and put it on the website. You can have them DM me, however they want to do it. But I'm always interested in suggestions, and I'll reach out to them. That don't mean I can get them, but I'll reach out to them. Like for instance, I know a lot of people have been asking me to interview Risha, Kanye Breast, and I keep telling her, and she says she'll do it. I guess she's got to find the time, and I keep telling her I'm gonna have people peer pressure her until she do it. So when you see her, just go. Anybody listening, flood her mentions. Ask her when she doing the OTAP show. Put it on her mind, and you help me out too. So
Okay.
yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah, you need to get on there.
Yeah.
You need to get on here and say her piece. I thought I had somebody in mind, but I'm like, wait, who was it? It was somebody because I think. I wanted to do for a podcast, like I told you, but it's going to be geared more toward what I told you I was going to get my master's degree, and it'll be geared more toward social issues.
Yeah.
And and that type of thing, like what's going on in society, but with a little spin to it. And I'm just trying to figure that out, but as far as your show is concerned, I think you pretty much got your niche. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think I got anything other than me. I want to see go over, get some female input on there. Cause it would have been nice to hear a female's perspective on my story, me telling you. Because for some reason, I only get invited on male podcasts. I don't really get, too many female podcasts how I don't know any. I got the She's Supposed to Diddy, and then now I got the 3 young ladies you just told me about.
Mm-hmm.
I like to hear what women got to say too, but they got to be the ones that can take, that can be, responsive in a positive way. Because that's how I am. I have
a really good episode coming up that I think you'll like. I have an episode with women that's going to be it's around. I got to get back to doing more roundtables, but I got one that I'm planning. A couple of them in the works that I'll keep you in the loop about that I think you will like. So be on the lookout for that. But you know what? This episode here was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did too. I enjoyed you because I told you got something about you connect with people. You know what I'm saying? So I like that you utilize that, using it.
Well, thank you.
A lot of people will have that and not use it. So I appreciate you, letting me do the show and everything. Letting people hear, something else about Shadow that they might miss. Because everything I told you about, I speak about it in segments and little increments. But people probably don't catch it. So this is the opportunity for people to do that,
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Well, cool. Well, good looking out. Well, I tell you what, thanks for coming on to the show, and you know what, we're going to have you back on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Cool.
So,
All right.
just follow me on Twitter. I'm One Shadow Love, O-N Shadow L-O-V-E. So just hit me up. I respond to all my followers, or even if you mention me and I don't follow me, long as you ain't disrespectful. I don't respond to disrespect. You won't get that out of me. So just an FYI.
I'd like to thank our guests for coming on today. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, send an email to otap@writeme.com. Follow the conversation on Twitter by searching the hashtag OTAP, that's OTAP, or following us on Twitter at OTAPshow. You can find the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Android users can listen to the podcast on Podcast Republic. Just download the app and search OTAPshow. On behalf of our guest, I'm your host, Corey, and I'll see you back here next week on the Air Podcast, starring you.